The long July 4th weekend has arrived, and it's a beautiful night for baseball. Live from Coors Field in Denver, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies in the first of a 4-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner along with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra. Dodgers come off a couple of upsetting losses at home. Yesterday, the day before, to the Cleveland Indians. Now they begin a road trip. The Dodgers have performed very well on the road this year.
They have. And you know what? Those two disappointing losses, they always feel like they have a chance because who's starting on the mound? And with Zach Greinke going out there today with his 10 victories, going for a league-leading and a league-tying 11th, a sub-3 ERA, what he brings to the game, outstanding fastball, outstanding slider, outstanding off-speed stuff. But really, I think the tool that I use most today is his mind. Because of this ballpark and the way it plays, Zach Greinke and the way he thinks about pitching and the way he attacks the hitters here will be the key.
And in the year and a half that Greinke has been with the Dodgers, he has made 19 appearances following a loss. The Dodgers are 16-3 when he starts, and tonight, got a couple of impact players returning to their respective teams.
Yeah, for Colorado, they have the return of Nolan Arenado. He's been nursing a finger injury. Prior to that injury, he was well on his way as being an all-star. He gives them depth in the lineup and has a tremendous glove. But for the Dodgers, Hanley Ramirez back in the starting lineup out there has been nursing a calf injury. But for the Dodgers, they get a guy who's tied for second in RBIs and has an RBI in 31 of his last 39 games.
Arenado missed 37 games with that finger injury. And up until a couple of hours ago, it's a 50-50 proposition as to whether or not Hanley Ramirez would go on the DL or start at bat third tonight. It is the latter. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the lineups in first pitch, the Dodgers and Rockies. Welcome to the 4th of July weekend.
Push to get Yasiel Puig and D. Gordon to the Midsummer Classic is here. Voting ends tonight, 8:59 Pacific time. Let's get these two to Target Field for the All-Star Game. Welcome inside Coors Field, everybody. I'm Alana Rizzo. I want to talk a little bit about the starting rotation for this four-game series between the Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies. You take a look at the Dodgers starters, and it speaks of absolute dominance. A 2.69 collective earned run average, 32 wins among them, and of course the two no-hitters, Josh Beckett and Clayton Kershaw. You take a look at the Rockies side, and it paints a very different picture. A 5.57 earned run average, just 12 wins among the three guys that you see there. You also see TBD for tomorrow. That is likely going to be newly acquired Jair Jurgens. Franklin Morales, who is going tonight, should be in the bullpen for the Rockies, but they have been decimated by injury. He's making a lot of spot starts. So if you look at it on paper, the dominance of the rotation for the Dodgers should bode well here in Denver. Zack Greinke on the hill tonight for the Los Angeles Dodgers, going for his 11th win of the season. Certainly could factor into the All-Star game as well. After the break, Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garcia-Parra, and Oral Hershiser on the call. We'll be right back.
Skies on this late Thursday afternoon in Denver. The Dodgers and the Rockies getting ready for a four-game series. The first game earlier this afternoon, the Dodgers got a gift from the Cardinals. They'll be sending a fruit plate afterwards after the Cardinals beat the Giants 7-2. And so if the Dodgers win today, they can hopscotch past the San Francisco Giants. The the Colorado Rockies on May the 7th were tied for first place with the Giants at 22-14. Since then, the Rockies have gone 14-35, 21 games under 500. They've just come off losing 6 out of 7 on the road. They're 13 games under 500. The Dodgers 9 games over 500. Yasiel Puig signing the autographs, and here are the Rockies, who have really struggled this year. The Dodgers beginning the 6-game road trip, 4 here in Colorado against a team that has been struggling. And then it's on to Detroit, and then next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Padres come back to Dodger Stadium, and then the All-Star break. You're looking at Franklin Morales taking the field, and here is the lineup that he'll be facing, is put together by Don Mattingly. D. Gordon will lead it off. He's still an iffy proposition for the All-Star game. Voting ends tonight. Still have an opportunity to get your votes in. Yasiel Puig and Hanley Ramirez Adrian Gonzalez, and Matt Kemp has enjoyed his time against the Rockies. Van Slyke in center field, Uribe at third, A.J. Ellis is catching, Zach Greinke in search of his 11th win of the year, facing Franklin Morales, who basically began the year in the minor leagues. Then he was a starter, then he was sent back to the bullpen, and now he's starting again with Jhoulys Chacín, sidelined with a very bad shoulder.
Yeah, he's making his 12th start of the season. As you mentioned, in May, he was 0-3 with a 7.59 ERA. Out of the bullpen in June, he's lowered that ERA, but hopefully the Dodgers can attack him early so he doesn't get that confidence over the course of the game. Attack that fastball he throws, slider, curveball, and change, and he has a three-quarter delivery that is often deceptive to hitters.
The Dodgers have taken 6 out of 9 from the Rockies this year, 4-2 at Dodger Stadium. Took 2 of 3 from the Rockies here last month. Last year, the Dodgers 9-10 against Colorado. This Rocky team is very simple to understand where they are if you believe in hitting and pitching. In terms of pitching, the Rockies, and there's not a whole lot they can do, they are dead last, with an ERA of 4.98. They lead every imaginable statistical offensive category, and they are dead last in every pitching category.
They have really proven the formula that pitching and defense wins championships, because they have an outstanding offense and are not winning that many games. And they really, as a ball club and as an organization, have to continue to learn to how to adjust to this ballpark and then how to adjust when they go on the road.
Playing defense behind Franklin Morales tonight, Nolan Arenado is back in the saddle. He had missed 37 games with a broken finger. When he's in the lineup, there were 5 games over 500. Without him, 18 games under 500. So they're happy to have the Southern Californian back. Tulowitzki at short, LeMahieu at second, Justin Morneau at first. Then it's Dickerson, Stubbs, and Blackmon in the outfield, and Willeen Rosario is the catcher. Rosario has thrown out 23% of would-be base stealers. So there is Arenado. The Rockies, without him, besides being a terrific defender, averaging more than a run less per game and 30 points less per game in terms of their team batting average. So Arenado back is a big deal for them. We are underway, and Gordon takes high and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Gordon at .295, 94 base hits, a couple of home runs and 25 runs batted in. Leads the majors in triples and stolen bases and takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Partly cloudy skies. There's always a chance of rain this time of year in this part of the country, but not a significant one. Gordon takes a strike, 1-2.
We see DeGordon squaring around there. I mean, with a lefty on the hill, if he even thinking about bunting, especially with a good glove man over there at third base, he might think about bringing that ball with him if he happens to lay it down toward first base.
Here's Morales on 1-2. When you were in Boston, at least your paths had crossed to some degree with Franklin Morales.
Yeah, Franklin Morales is, if you talk to many catchers, pitching coaches over there in Boston, they said he just has tremendous ability, just tremendous stuff. I mean, you always hear that term stuff. What does that really translate to? But just good.
To first base. And Morneau takes it himself.
And that stuff they talk about is a good life on his fastball, late life that gets up on a hitter. Even though it averages around 91 to 92, but to a hitter it seems like it's a lot faster than that because of that late life it has. He's got a good slider, and as I mentioned before, that three-quarter angle, it's very difficult to square up as a hitter from both righty and a left-hander. He's got a good curveball, so he has all the makeup and all the ability. It's just he just hasn't been able to bring it together on a consistent basis. Came
up with the Rockies originally, went to Boston, came back in the deal that sent Jonathan Herrera for the Red Sox over the winter, and here is Puig, currently third in the All-Star voting. 6-game hitting streak and a strike. It's 0-1. Puig hasn't hit a home run since May 28th and had just 6 runs batted in the month of June. As is, he's at .314. and off the end of the bat.
Through this time where Yasiel has gotten hot again, with there has been no power, it looks to me that when he's in the box, he really is a little bit more worried about contact and hitting the ball hard on the ground or on the line than really launching it. When he's so locked in, he gets very aggressive with his swings, and we just haven't seen those full swings that he can make.
Outside.
Almost like a two-strike approach right from the beginning of an at-bat, as he's tried to get back on the beam and get his average back up where he thinks it belongs.
At 314, he's 5th in the National League. Tulowitzki's the National League and Major League leading hitter. Foul back and out of play.
That having different swings is a kind of a step of maturity also for Yasiel. I really believe that when you understand you're not at your best, but you do what you're capable of doing that day, that's going to help you get a hit and help the team win. The young, immature hitter just keeps flailing.
1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I mean, that's an excellent point there, Oral. You hear so many players, ourselves included, talk about, well, you got to make adjustments when you're going well, make adjustments when you're going bad, how they're making adjustments to you, and that's one of the adjustments. You shorten up, worry about making good contact first.
Puig down on strikes. 2 out and nobody on. 70th time that Yasiel Puig has been struck out. And now here's Hanley Ramirez. When the Dodgers got to work early today, they didn't know if Hanley Ramirez was going to be in the lineup or on the disabled list. So he had a good, strong workout today. Part of the consideration, of course, is that you've got the All-Star break, 4 days there. And so he ran, he threw, he hit, and here he is at 271, 4th in the league with 52 runs batted in. Takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. It sounds as if he's just got a sore body. Calf, hamstring, shoulder. Trying to gut it through is Ramirez with 11 home runs, 46 runs batted in. Just underway, 2 out, first of a 4-game series.
And I really believe Hanley was probably thinking, along with Don Mattingly, but Hanley himself, can I patch it together till the All-Star break, and then that rest will help me regenerate and rejuvenate myself. And I think he proved to the staff that he could. But they know all of a sudden overnight he wasn't just healed.
He's played 2 innings of defense since June 22nd. And he's going to be out there tonight. 3 balls and no strikes. To that end, Arizbel Arbarena has been recalled from AAA. Carlos Trienfeld sent out this afternoon. Here's a 3-0. 3-1, and Ramirez lost his helmet.
Well, he took a nice, easy cut at this ball. Wondering why he lost his helmet, but yeah, he was trying to hit that, not just over the fence, he was trying to hit that out of the ballpark. But listen, he was in a hitter's count. That's what you do. Let it fly.
And in this ballpark, on 3-1. Down the left field line, and it is going to hook foul.
I mean, that's when you have the green light, 3-0, you're going, all right, if I get a pitch that I know I can handle up in the zone and I'm going to be able to hit it out of the ballpark, well, that's what he took his swing like, and shoot, he still found himself with another chance. He gave himself 2 chances to try to knock it out of the ballpark. And knowing Hanley, he might even say, I'm going to try 3 times.
11 home runs, 46 runs batted in. Now the 3-2.
Sometimes it's hard for the little leaguer, or even maybe as high as the high school player, to really understand that the big leaguer doesn't mind swinging and missing completely.
No.
Better than, and especially on a 3-0 pitch and a 3-1 pitch, better than, hitting a weak ground ball or a pop-up.
And that's knowing yourself because of the count you're in. 3-0, and you have the green light. And that's often you give a guy a green light because you know he's going to be taking a swing like that.
And Morales has given up 17 home runs this year. So Ramirez takes a walk, and that'll bring up Adrian Gonzalez. So Morales certainly is prone to the long ball. 17 home runs in 77 innings. Now Adrian Gonzalez has begun to turn things around over the past week or so. He was 7 for 24 on the homestand. And in the past 10 days or so, 314, 2 home runs, 11 runs batted in. Here's a strike, nothing in one. They've got the shift on for Gonzalez. Outfield, relatively speaking, straight away. But you see the second baseman, LeMahieu, in short right. Tulowitzki, the solitary figure on the left side of the infield, as Gonzalez fouls it off to the right.
And Adrian has really climbed out of his slump with a buffet of types of hits. Everything from the bunt hit to the ground ball to the left side to beat the shift to the doubles in the gap and the home run. So he is showing what he has always been, which is a very intelligent hitter and hitting the situations.
Got a .294 career hitter, making outside. Third base umpire is the crew chief, Jeff Kelloff. Extending the at-bat for Gonzalez with Matt Kemp on deck. A 4-game set, Dodgers and the Rockies. This is the first one. Tomorrow, Jair Jurgens, who was just acquired yesterday, will pitch for the Rockies. Welcome to Colorado, son. You're going to be pitching against Clayton Kershaw. Oh, goody. 2-2.
It does take some mental discipline when you are the opposing pitcher to the ace and the ace of aces, really, to understand that you have a chance and to concentrate on your own game and not worry about the opposing guy. And he will probably only give up 2 or 3 max.
Foul back and out of play.
And you feel right from the beginning of the game that, you know, if you give up a leadoff double in an inning or you give up a triple, it's like, boy, that could be the game right there. Because you know the other guy's going to throw some zeros up there.
Well, as poor as the Rockies pitching has been, and it has been bad, a .498 ERA, 30th out of the 30 teams in the major leagues. Morales enters the game tonight, for instance, with an ERA of 5 3/4.
Well, 2 ways to have a bad pitching staff here is, first of all, you don't have enough talent. Well, that's for sure. You're going to have a bad pitching staff. But the other way is that this ballpark and pitching in it wears you down. Wears you down as a starting staff because you have to work so hard to get outs, and wears you down as a bullpen because you get so much extra work. So you can start out with a very talented group of guys, but the season and the wear and tear of pitching in this ballpark can really beat you up.
And already Morales is going to throw his 26th pitch. But he'll strike out Gonzalez to end the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left, but 26 pitches thrown by Morales. Zach Greinke will make his 19th start when we come back. second season as the manager of the Colorado Rockies, has put this lineup together for this Thursday night. Charlie Blackmon in right, Drew Stubbs in center, Justin Morneau at first base. Tulowitzki, the National League's leading hitter at .351. Then Dickerson, Nolan Arenado finally back in the saddle, having missed 37 games. Wilden Rosario's the catcher, DJ LeMahieu at second base, Franklin Morales pitching and batting ninth against 30-year-old Zach Greinke, making his 18th start of the year.
Going for his 11th victory, which will tie him for the league lead. And today, Zach really needs to be adept at making good adjustments. Had 7 innings here back in Colorado, June 7th, where he gave up 11 hits. It was a struggle to get through that. He got a no decision, but he had to work very, very hard. And it was because of the atmosphere, the ballpark, and this great offensive club that he is facing. So he came into that outing trying to be efficient, which he was, only 105 pitches in 7 innings, but he's going to have to do something a little different here today, keeping him off balance.
Blackmon at .295. Takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Blackmon got off to the great start, and slowly but surely he has been receding. Stubbs and Morneau to follow. Zach Greinke, his last start on Saturday against the Cardinals. There's Stubbs on deck. The 0-2. Greinke last Saturday against the Cardinals, 1 run and 5 hits in 7 innings. Looking to become an 11-game winner. And the Dodgers, of course, having lost yesterday. Tough one, 5-4 at home, swung on and missed strike 3. Notable about Greinke, among many statistics, is that he has made 19 starts since coming to the Dodgers following a loss. The club is 16-3 in those 19 games. So he is a certifiable stopper. Here's Stubbs with a half a dozen home runs, but also prone to striking out a lot. Hitting .292. And wherever he's been, the strikeouts have been a big source of frustration for his manager. 1-1. But his skill set is undeniable.
Yeah, Drew Stubbs is the type of player, almost like if you reflect him or compare him to a pitcher with great stuff with no command. Drew Stubbs has got great tools, but really just can't be consistent. And it's about that eye-hand coordination and contact.
Over the middle. Oh, look at Hanley Ramirez, a throw, not in time. Yesterday, Hanley Ramirez could barely go from first to third. He has played 2 innings of defense at shortstop in the last 11 days and makes a terrific play, and only Stubbs' great speed beats it out.
Well, he shows off the runs right here. He takes a stab at it, has it in his glove, and when you lunge like that, your momentum really carries you way out into the right field. So he knows that, and he says, I just got to get rid of it and see if I have a chance. And he purposely threw that in the dirt because he can't get enough on it, couldn't get his body turned around in a position to get more on it, and made it an easy hop for Gonzalez to try to pick and try to make the play.
1 out, 1 on, Justin Morneau. Swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Morneau at .315. He has had the difficult task of following an icon, Todd Helton, and he has done it seamlessly. Helton, the face of the franchise. In the 2 decades it's been in business.
There you see his burger shack. Have you tried one of those burgers yet?
No, sir.
No? You haven't, Charlie? Have you? How about you? No?
I'm waiting for him to come there and serve it.
You got a long way. We're down to first base. No balls and 2 strikes now. Helton's one of those guys that when he retired, he just kind of went off into the horizon, and that's been it. He was so reluctant to make a public pronouncement that he was retiring. August or so of last year, the Dodgers were in town here, and I know Helton says he played college football, for goodness sake. and he was supplanted by Peyton Manning at Tennessee. So he comes over to me in late August last year, and he said, looking at the schedule, and down goes Morneau, there's 2 outs. He says, you know, you're going to call my last game. The Dodgers were going to host the Rockies' final game of the regular season. And I said, have you told anybody this? And he said, no. I said, do you intend to? He said, no. I said, why not? Because I just want to go off into the sunset. I said, you know, it's probably not a bad idea to say a little something before the last homestand, which he finally did. And just a tremendous player he was, Gold Glover, and as I said, the face of the franchise here.
And as a departing gift, they gave him a Burger Shack,
which we still have not yet tried. Now that's what you call a symmetrical story. Please pass the ketchup. Tulowitzki at 351. Jose Altuve of the Astros is second. 5'5" Jose Altuve. Runner goes. Tulowitzki grounds to third. Uribe throws to first, and that will end the inning. No runs and 1 hit. We'll go to the second inning. Dodgers and Rockies are scoreless.
Top of the second inning, Matt Kemp, Scott Van Slyke, and Juan Uribe due up for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you heard Charlie and the guys talking about really the difference between the Dodgers and the Rockies. And really, it was the month of June that made a huge difference as far as where these two clubs stand today. Take a look at the record. 8-20 at the 6.38 ERA as far as the Rockies are concerned, both last in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers, however, 18-10, which is tied for second in the Bigs. 2.49 collective ERA, lowest in Major League Baseball. Look at the record, though, on May 31st. The two teams were only separated by 2 wins, 28-27 for the Rockies, 30-27 for Los Angeles. Really a tale of two very different clubs in the month of June.
And in fact, Alana, going back to May the 7th, the Rockies were tied for first place with the Giants at 22-14. And since May the 7th, so basically 2 months, they've been in a free fall at 14-35. Matt Kemp leads it off. Kemp with 8 home runs and 31 runs batted in, and he has enjoyed his time this year playing against the Colorado Rockies, as have the Dodgers for that matter, having won 6 of 9 against the Rockies this year. It'll be Kemp and Van Slyke and Uribe to bat. Morales deals high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Dodgers get a gift from the Cardinals today. 7-2 winners over Bumgarner and the Giants. And so with a win tonight, the Dodgers can hopscotch back into first place. And how has that happened? The Giants have lost 17 of their last 22. Well, the Dodgers have won 15 of their last 23 and are still kicking themselves about losing yesterday and on Tuesday night. But that's the record. Here they are. You just saw Rojas and a brief peek at Arbarena, and a ground ball slowly hit to short. Here's Tulowitzki, who does better than anybody. 1 out. When you watch him do what he does, Nomar, and you did some of that too just because of your athleticism, what does he do? What athletic skill does he have above and beyond a great throw and a throwing arm that he can do that on the fly?
Well, the key, too, to any infielder, especially a shortstop, is that very first step, reading the ball right off the bat. And that's what he gets a great jump on any ground ball. And then he's got just such great body control. And he's a big individual out there. He's a big shortstop, but he comes in flying hard, grabbing first and foremost, focused on the ball, and then puts his body in a great position to make the throw. You work on that as a middle infielder tirelessly to be able to throw off the run.
And he'll be at the All-Star game in Minneapolis. He's the leading vote getter at last check. Puig and Gordon and Gonzalez still very much in the middle of the voting. And you have a chance for the end of the night tonight. Go on to Dodgers.com, MLB.com, and stuff the ballot box 35 times. Van Slyke with 7 home runs, whistles 1 foul, and Lorenzo Bundy, the third base coach, as we were walking in today, he was on the training table. He had pulled a calf muscle the other day.
On the same play that Justin Turner blew his hamstring out.
That was a twofer.
We can't have Lorenzo go down.
Ooh.
No.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Van Slyke with Uribe on deck.
And if Lorenzo goes down, then how are guys going to know when to go home? Score. Past third. So he's important. And the signs.
And he's a really good storyteller.
Yeah. So it's good to see him out there.
He's been so many places with so many stories along the way. A baseball lifer, Van Slyke on 2-2, fouls it off. Uribe on deck, A.J. Ellis to follow. Top of the second. So Uribe back from his 6-week stint on the disabled list.
Lorenzo was actually going over the mechanics of coaching third with a bad wheel.
LeMahieu in short right center. Battling the wind.
He said to me, Lorenzo said to me, he said, it's all on where I start now because I can't move very far. So I've got to remember where to start on every batter and what the play could be possibly. So he's got to anticipate. And I said, well, how about getting out of the way from foul balls like he just had to? He goes, oh, I'm going to have to wear it on that. I can move my head, but I will have to wear it if one's at me.
Lorenzo Bundy is 55, grew up in Philadelphia. And here is Uribe at 288. And every third base coach has to have that explosive first step in reverse.
Exactly.
Put up that stop sign or helicopter him home. Bundy managed in Mexico and single A, double A, triple A. Coached it with the Diamondbacks for a year. 2 balls and a strike. Uribe, 4 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Two out and nobody on. 2 out and 1 man on. An explosive line drive off the bat of Juan Uribe.
Yeah, that was hit really well with the fastball in the inner half, and he brought in the hands nicely and got the head out there and crushed it to left field. So we have a look again. I mean, this ball's coming in on him, and see how he just gets the head out, and even on a line drive, he kind of has that little finish when he hits the ball, which it makes me chuckle every time because I love it.
Each swing, as he finishes, it's like with an exclamation point. And here's A.J. Ellis. at 223. 4 RBIs, 3 doubles. Takes inside. Greinke, of course, a terrific hitting pitcher, is on deck. Ellis spent too much time on the disabled list already this year. First with the arthroscopic knee procedure, and then twisting his ankle on Gutierrez's mask after the Beckett no-hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike to A.J. Ellis, who is playing in his 32nd game. For the Dodgers, this is their 88th game. And with a chance to get back into first place with a win tonight. D. Gordon will get a chance to hit after Greinke in hopes that he goes to Minnesota for the All-Star game. Ellis takes a call, strike 3. Morales has struck out 3 tonight. No runs and a hit. Greinke will face Dickerson, Arenado, and Rosario when we go to the bottom of the second. Like your music everywhere you go? Well, be sure to head out to Dodger Stadium a week from Sunday, July 13th, when the Dodgers host the Padres at 1:10. First 40,000 fans take home a portable speaker courtesy of State Farm. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Zach Greinke gave up a hit in the first inning, struck out 2, and he'll be facing Corey Dickerson, Nolan Arenado, and Willen Rosario. Storm clouds overhead. Wind is blowing from right field toward left.
And when I look at these gray skies right now, you need communication from the infielders to the outfielders to remind the infielders anytime there's a pop-up, point the ball out, because the ball's rubbed up. It's not white. It's rubbed up with that mud, and it looks the same color as these gray skies.
And then you throw the wind into the mix, and it's really beginning to howl. We may get a shower or two before this night is out. No balls and 1 strike to Corey Dickerson at 3:37. Lines it off the glove of Hanley Ramirez. Well, if he had a hammy or a calf muscle pull, that certainly got tested.
It's been tested twice so far in these first 2 innings. We saw that one where he had it range far to his left, and then this one having to jump up and just off the tip of his glove. Maybe if it was 100% healthy, he might have been able to come up with that.
Instead, a leadoff hit for Dickerson, and here's Nolan Arenado getting a big ovation Missed 37 games with a broken finger. And a head-first slide that put him on the DL. There's a strike, 0-1. They had a winning record when he was in the lineup and a losing record without him. And they have really struggled, of course. 8-20 in the month of June and 14-35 since the 7th of May. 1-1.
Not only the ability of Nolan do you miss, but you miss his grinded out attitude. He has the body language of a gamer, a gym rat, and that is something you can feed off of as a teammate. Walt Weiss was that kind of player.
Arenado, born in Newport Beach, lives in Lake Forest. And the 1-1. Well, that's a thank you very much double play. I waited 37 games for this. Well, there are many better defenders at the pitching spot than Zach Greinke as you take a good look at the Carl's Cam replay and an easy double play.
It's a good read by Zach and timing his jump, because that can fool you as a pitcher. That full swing jam shot, you don't have that third dimension always to realize how fast the ball is coming back at you. And because you're the closest guy on the field to the hitter, your first reaction usually is to flinch, because
yes.
It feels like it always comes back too fast.
And no one would give you 2 for flinching for that one.
See,
he didn't flinch.
A little stutter step and then went right into the jump mode, and 2 guys went up on the last 2 batters, and the pitcher got it and got a double play.
Greinke hasn't made an error in 4 years. Into center. And Slight. And that's that. No runs and a hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 3rd. Greinke and the Dodgers scoreless against Morales and the Rockies. The score from Coors Field, and time is running out. To vote on your 2014 MLB All-Stars, you can help send your favorite Dodger to the All-Star game by voting up to 35 times at Dodgers.com. Vote exclusively at Dodgers.com or go on your mobile phone. Voting ends tonight at 11:59 Eastern Time, which would make it a minute before 9 West Coast time. D. Gordon, who is on deck, of course, is very much in the race for second base. Adrian Gonzalez, who is 4th in the National League in runs batted in the race, and Yasiel Puig who follows Gordon in the batting order, is third at the moment among the National League All-Star outfielders. And Zach Greinke certainly has had an all-star caliber season, and he drills one to left field, and it is a foul ball. Little wonder that Zach Greinke, a Silver Slugger Award winner last year when he hit .328.
We've been getting some offense out of the 9-hole lately. Josh Beckett and Jin Ryu. Not just singles either, bloopers, some doubles and some power to the wall. Zach following the lead of those guys.
He's got 4 doubles on the year, does Greinke. Coming out to the ballpark at Dodger Stadium early, you watch the pitchers. They're the first ones to take BP. There's some pretty good competition going on there.
It's an intense time and a fun time for them, but they are working.
Look at Tulowitzki. Rob Greinke. Very close play. Looked like a short single to center. Tulowitzki, the all-star shortstop, would have none of it.
Yeah, I was asked in our pregame show back at Sportsnet LA, they were going, what do you like about Troy Tulowitzki? Well, things like this. The range, the athleticism, gets the balls there, recognizing that it's also a pitcher on that one who hit that ball where he might have a little extra time so he can lay out and get to the ball and makes a nice strong throw. He's got a tremendous arm as well over there from shortstop.
Tulowitzki wears number 2 on his jersey because his favorite player was Derek Jeter. And Jeter, of course, his final year. Look at that bunt. Thank you and good night. Gordon with a bunt base hit. Picture perfect.
And I'm even surprised that Rosario picked his ball up. It hit the corner of the grass there. It was so perfect of a bunt. You might as well just see if it happens to roll foul. Right there, it hits the grass, see it kind of slow, and then he picked it up because you really had no chance at D. Gordon. I mean, that was just placed perfectly. You didn't have a play on him whatsoever.
Well, he has really improved on his bunting technique throughout this year so far. We saw him make some really bad bunts early on, but he stuck with it, and he has continued to practice it early. Charlie, you were just talking about that early pitcher's BP. Well, D. Gordon comes out early and works on his bunting, too.
Now here's Puig, struck out in his first at-bat. And it's bobbled at second base by LeMahieu, so he's got only one play, and that's to get Puig at first. Gordon goes to second with 2 out.
Tell you, that was a misplay by LeMahieu, but also a smart play after messing up that ball, not trying to force it to get the runner out at second base, recognizing it's D. Gordon. Here he's looking, okay, this is a double play ball. I bobble it and say, okay, I just got to get one, gather myself, and throw to first base.
So he limited the damage, 2 out, and here's Hanley Ramirez coming up with Gordon at second. Ramirez walked in his first at-bat. Hanley takes inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Looked like Rosario was set up outside. Gonzalez on deck. And Gordon and his great speed at second base. Whoop.
Oh.
Talk about the luck of the draw.
That was a total cross-up. Rosario's expecting a pitch out. Morales throws a slider. That, and then the brick wall brings the ball quick enough that it almost turns into an out because the ball carrying back catches D off guard as he thinks about going to third.
Another brick in the ball.
And I'm sure home plate umpire Brian Honora probably saw his life flash before his eyes when he says, okay, here's the pitch out. There goes the catcher. Oh, wait a minute. That ball's coming at me.
Honora in his 18th big league season. He's 51. out of Ohio. So Ramirez not knowing what to expect now on 2-0. A strike, 2-1.
One thing you don't see too often is them pitching out with a runner on second base to try to catch him at third.
And then nearly a strike on the pitch out. 2-2. So again, with the speed of D. Gordon, it's really a pointless proposition to try and steal third base with 2 out and a hitter like Hanley Ramirez up.
Now's not the time, especially in this type of ballpark where you have big gaps. You have a lot of room out there. The outfield is playing deep because of the power of Hanley Ramirez, so even a base hit through the infield, you score easily.
2-2 with 2 out. 3-2. So already 56 pitches for Morales.
That almost was a once-in-a-lifetime event. Pitch out with a man on second. Pitcher throws a slider. Catcher goes out for the pitch out. Carry him back to the catcher from the wall. Throws the runner out at third.
And yeah, that would have happened too.
That would
right
have.
If D. Gordon had gone, he would have been thrown
rare
out.
Things that have happened in baseball. Those books were just funny things that happen.
And that's playing your home field advantage, knowing it was going to do that.
Well, how about the Dodgers the other night when they had the first 2 batters, Beckett and Gordon, hit doubles and nobody scored. And now the sky is beginning to open and the fans are heading to higher ground in a real hurry.
The only logical part about that, Nomar was explaining to me as he watched it from a high home replay, is about Josh Beckett having to go back to second base.
Yeah, because the ball was hit to the third baseman and it was hit down the line. And I think Josh thought, okay, there might be a play there, which is rightly thought. You don't go when the ball's hit in front of you.
Gonzalez with a line drive base hit into left field. Here comes Gordon and he will score. Adrian Gonzalez with his 53rd run batted in. Through the raindrops and a bit of a storm, the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Oro, you touched on it. The way Adrian Gonzalez, when he was having a little bit of a slump, how he's really just utilizing the whole field, bunting, pulling it, whatever it takes to get those base hits. And here was a perfect example. Fastball on the outer half, not trying to pull that ball whatsoever, just going with it and lining it over there to left field.
Dodgers this year, when scoring first, are 38-13. So they're off to the 1-0 lead, and Kemp takes a strike. It's 0-1. Kemp bounced to short in his first at-bat. Ramirez at second. Gonzalez is at first. And Kemp with a chopper to short. That'll do it. But Adrian Gonzalez with a 2-out single to left, scoring D. Gordon, has given the Dodgers an early 1-0 lead.
with a 1-0 lead thanks to the RBI single from Adrian Gonzalez. I'm here to illustrate that it is windy. It's getting windier here at Coors Field. Zack Greinke on the bump for his third inning of work, and it's a good thing he's pitching against the NL West because for whatever reason he absolutely dominates the division. Take a look at our Coors Light cold hard facts. The lowest earned run average versus any division. Now this is since 2013, of course, 12 minimum starts. Zack Greinke with a 2.20 ERA against his own division, followed by Anibal Sanchez against the AL Centro, Nathan Eovaldi against the NL East, as well as the NL East. Look at Cliff Lee, 2.42. Zack Greinke dominates the NL West, guys. He really dominates everybody this year, really.
He really has. Greinke with a record of 10-4, looking to become an 11-game winner, joining Wainwright among others. And here he is, the first pitch of the third to DJ LeMahieu. It's a strike, 0-1. Not only has Greinke got that 2.2 ERA against the National League West, against the West, since coming to the Dodgers, he is 12-1, and no pitcher has fared better within a division than Greinke. LeMahieu fouls it back, and it's 0-2. LeMahieu, and then Morales in the top of the order for the Rockies.
Dissecting Zack Greinke's stats and breaking them into different categories is like eating a fine fillet. It doesn't matter which bite, it all tastes good. He's just been so dominant in every capacity.
You don't ask for no stinking ketchup when
no, when he's on the mound, you don't need ketchup or any of those other sauces. He is USDA choice.
Just don't pitch it center cut.
Oh boy. I'll be over here if you need me, guys.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Pass the ketchup. LeMahieu, 3 home runs, 24 runs batted in. And it's 1-2.
Zach is really trying to establish the fastball tonight, and I think one of the keys to pitching well in this ballpark is great fastball command, because you're not going to make the hitter swing at your big breaking balls here because it just doesn't break. There's not enough air. So the split finger change right there, or the change ups that are down is a good pitch. The slider and the cutter are good pitches, but you can pretty much bag your big curveballs. They're just not going to break.
In 45 starts with the Dodgers, Greinke is 29-8 and an ERA of 2.7. Not a bad first year and a half. That's the third strikeout of the game for Greinke. It's the first out of the third.
Fastball command, you're ahead of the hitter and he wants to stay. He just came off of a changeup in the dirt and now he goes up the ladder. Great thing about this pitch is I love when pitchers go up the ladder and they go to a larger portion of the plate. They don't try and go up the ladder and go to a corner, because you don't really give the hitter visually anything to swing at. You got to give him some kind of stimulus to start the bat.
1 ball, no strikes to Franklin Morales with a couple of hits this year. He's back in the rotation because Jhoulys Chacín has a bad shoulder, which was described by somebody as, quote, irritated and chewed up.
Sounds like a dog toy.
Well, Chacín is looking at a real possibility of shoulder surgery.
Can you imagine if that was the doctor's diagnosis to you as a player? Oh, by the way, what do you think? It's chewed up.
Mr. Chacín, I've got 7 pages of research here, and it boils down to this. It's irritated and chewed up. Well, that's encouraging. Thanks, Doc.
So what do I do with a chewed up toy?
The late, great Dr. Frank Jobe, God rest his soul, said to me after he looked at my MRI on my shoulder, and then we ended up having reconstructive surgery. He said, Doc, the first thing out of his mouth was, I'm sorry. Next thing's out of his mouth as he explained what he was going to do. And I said, what's my shoulder kind of look like? And he goes, it looks like pounded veal. I go, okay, I get it. Okay. I need surgery.
Pass the pasta.
I need to go in there and repair the pounded veal.
Which it sounds like they're going to have to do to Holy Chassin. So Morales is in the rotation. And it's a 3-2 count with one out in the bottom half of the third. Hanley Ramirez. Morales busting it out of the box. 2 out. So Greinke on top of his game. Giving up a couple of hits. And has thrown just one over the minimum. And here's Blackman, who struck out in his first at-bat. Well, all the folks who departed for higher ground when that passing rain shower came through, now they're all returning to their seats. And the sun has returned and the gray skies have moved on. Blackman takes a strike and it's 0-1. Charlie at 294. Nothing in 2. Blackman, with his 12 home runs, 44 of his 46 RBIs coming from the leadoff spot. Most in the major leagues. And most in Rockies history for a leadoff hit. Stubbs is on deck. And Greinke's 35th pitch. Gonzalez an easy play. Another easy inning for Zach Greinke. Nothing across for the Rockies. Will go to the 4th. Van Slyke, Uribe, and Ellis coming up. 1-0. Greinke and the Dodgers. LA is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburgers at participating restaurants. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champion. Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Oral Hershiser, Alana Rizzo. On the 3rd of July from Coors Field in Denver, the Dodgers 1 run and 3 base hits. A Gonzalez 2-out single to left. The difference in the game. And Yasiel Puig just on the Jimmy Kimmel show the other night. An interview with Guillermo. Insightful and riveting. Well, he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Van Slyke popped to second in his first at-bat. Uribe and Ellis to follow. Van Slyke swings and misses, 0-1. So with the lefty Morales starting tonight, it's Van Slyke in center and Ethier watching. And the Morales ahead 0-2. So Morales to this point has walked 2 and struck out 3. Make it 4. What's he doing, Earl?
You know what? Like Nomar said at the beginning when he previewed him, outstanding arm with outstanding stuff, and a lot of it tonight is late breaking and sharp, and he's done a good job commanding both sides of the plate. So he's rarely made some mistakes. He had a great piece of hitting from Adrian Gonzalez for the Dodgers to get the RBI hit, and that was one where Adrian hit in 2 different situations. He hit with a man on first and 2 out. In the first situation, looked like he was trying to pull, so Adrian kind of set him up, because then he went with the fastball away, and Adrian carved it out there to left field for an RBI.
For Morales, this is his first start against the Dodgers in 7 years. 2007 last time. Made 2 starts. Deep to left field. Back goes Dickerson, and it's a fair ball. Uribe will arrive at second base with a double. Uribe launched a line drive to left in his first at-bat and has doubled with 1 out in his second at-bat.
Well, in his first at-bat, he got a fastball in when he used those hands quickly to get that barrel out. This time was a breaking ball. He stayed back on it just enough, was out in front just a hair, but he puts the barrel on it and hits it deep to left field.
And that swing and that approach is the difference between Juan Uribe, the bad hitter, and Juan Uribe, the good hitter now, that he is able to take the fastball and concentrate going the opposite way. And then when he does get fooled by the breaking pitch, he's got enough swing left to get a hit.
Now A.J. Ellis took a called 3rd strike in his first at-bat. Ellis just 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position. Hitting .221 on the year. For Ellis, this is but his 96th at-bat. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike.
You know, now at this time of day, we had that little cloud coverage come through, made it gray. Now the sun is peeking through. Well, now that the sun is peeking through, one thing here about Colorado, you have that throw across the diamond from the third baseman and gets in the eyes of the first baseman. So if there's a ground ball to the third baseman, oftentimes they would try to make a one-hop throw to the first baseman purposely. As you can see right there, the angle, because that sun is so bright right in the first baseman's eyes as the ball's coming in. So just be on the lookout for ground balls to third to see if that might come into play.
And that's why Morneau's got the wraparound shades. And pickoff throws are no picnic either for the first baseman. Three and one. Greinke on deck. Ellis with 4 RBIs, 3 doubles, and 18 singles, and there's Greinke, robbed of a base hit by Tulowitzki in his first go-round. Well, Ellis swings and misses, and somehow it gets past Rosario, and on to third base is Uribe. First instinct is foul tip.
Breaking ball down and in. I think it just scoots right under his glove. He's got the glove turning the wrong way, and you surely cannot catch that ball like a pancake or catching it like swatting it like a bug. Got to turn the thumb the other direction to get the glove underneath that one.
So the Dodgers get a break. The Rockies have to bring the infield in. The count is 3-2 to A.J. Ellis. Into center field. That's going to be plenty deep enough for Uribe to score. Sacrifice fly for A.J. Ellis. And the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. For Ellis, his 5th run batted into the season.
Well, that's the benefit of that pass ball on that last swing by A.J. Ellis. An excellent job. 3-2 count. He gets a breaking ball up in the zone. and able to get that deep fly ball to knock in your rebound.
So a double, a pass ball, thank you very much, and a sac fly. Dodgers 2-0, and Greinke with 2 out. Greinke 5 for 32. Disregard the batting average. He's a terrific hitter. .328 last year, winning the Silver Slugger Award. Now in foul territory, there's plenty of room for Morneau. And that will end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Greinke and the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead to work with. And Tulowitzki to bat. Come on out to Dodger Stadium a week from Saturday night when the Dodgers commemorate Roy Campanella night at Dodger Stadium. There's 50,000 fans in attendance at the game against the Padres. Take home a Pee Wee Reese and Roy Campanella bobblehead, compliments of United Healthcare. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So Greinke, who made the last out, a little late in getting his warm-up tosses in. He's going to take one more before we go to the 4th inning. And the Dodgers with a 2-0 lead on a Thursday in which they know that the Giants have already lost. Uribe is 2 for 2 tonight. Scored the 2nd run. Giants lost in San Francisco to the Cardinals 7-2. Bumgarner lost again. And the Giants have lost 17 of their last 22, while the Dodgers have won 15 of their last 23. Thus, the turnaround from 9.5 back, and perhaps at night's end, the Dodgers will be back in the saddle atop the charts. Bumgarner got beat again.
Yeah, the Giants' free fall has had a lot to do with their starting pitching. Not around, of course, the Tim Lincecum no-hitter, the 2nd one of his career.
Stubbs takes a strike. And Pagan is hurt. He's got a bad back. They've got some young kids suddenly thrust into the lineup. And the Dodgers are shedding not a tear. 1 ball, 1 strike to Stubbs. Got aboard on an infield base hit in his first at-bat.
Right now, the race has been kind of the tortoise and the hare. It's slow and steady, the Dodgers have been, and Giants jumped out real quick but have fallen down.
Giants in the last month have done a Thelma and Louise. Dodgers and Giants don't face one another again until the end of July up there. July 25th, 26th, and 27th. One and 2 to Stubbs. Strikeout number 4 for Greinke. Stubbs knows it, 1 gone. So with the Giants losing today, it's a 2-team race in the National League West. Padres have gotten hot lately. Colorado has fallen off the cliff. And Arizona's been rock bottom most of the year.
It was an interesting start of the day when only 2 teams in all of baseball had more wins than the Dodgers, Oakland and Milwaukee. And they were still in second place in their own division.
Uribe backhand throws not in time. Uribe, unable to make the play cleanly, still had the presence of mind to pick it up and use that rifle-like throwing arm. And there's Gonzalez taking that throw in the sun. That wasn't a picnic for either one of them.
No, then Uribe upset with himself because this right here, the ball that he gets to it, he's like, that should stay in my glove, frustrated, and yet still had a chance at possibly getting Morneau at first base. And Adrian is looking in the dugout and he's wondering, well, is that questionable whether it should be reviewed or not?
And as you watch the end of that replay, Adrian walks in and stands with Zach Greinke, and they give the bench time to look at the replay, because when you're on defense, you want to delay.
Now Tulowitzki with Morneau at first takes a strike, 0-1. I think we all can agree that the replay rule has lived up to expectations. It's not greatly hurt the game in any way.
I think the unanticipated result has been the fact that there's been very few arguments because the managers just kind of come out and stall.
Into right field, Puig should have an easy play.
I think that might be one area where they may address where, you know, the manager can just come out, look at the umpire, but not even really talk to the umpire, just kind of look in to see if he's going to get a thumbs up or thumbs down, and like you said, just stall the umpire. Everybody knows what's going on.
See, for me, and that's where, to make it a little more interesting, forget the tape room up or down. You've got 10 seconds to make a decision. We don't need to go back, well, let's take a look, thumbs up, thumbs down from the bench coach who's been talking to the tape operator. Either you got a beef or you don't. But to go out and have a conversation and you're waiting around for the thumbs up, how are the wife and kids? Fine, we're going to do the replay. No. It could be much more efficient. Just, there's a liner just foul. Dickerson narrowly missing a double, might have scored Morneau. But it's no balls and a strike. Either you got a beef or you don't.
Give him a time limit.
Yeah.
Make your decision. And that ball was just foul.
So that's the only area, as I've been watching this, where you tweak it a little bit.
But for the most part, it definitely has helped the game in my view.
Yeah. So. They're getting the calls right.
The more you get it right, the better the game will be. But we can't have seriously long delays, and I think they're doing a pretty good job. On average, what, just over a minute or so?
About 90 seconds. Dickerson, who's singled to left in his first at-bat. And Coors Field is filling up. It's like a near-capacity crowd tonight. July 4th weekend has begun. Ellis has room. No runs and a hit given up by Greinke. The Dodgers will take a 2-0 lead into the top of the 5th, and they'll have the top of the order coming up. Off for the Dodgers in the top half of the 5th inning. And we are in the first of this 4-game series. Off day on Monday, then Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be talking to you from Detroit. And then a week from tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, the Padres are at Dodger Stadium, and then the All-Star break rolls around. Gordon with a bunt base hit, scored a run in his last at-bat, and he's grounded to first. Gordon has scored a run. Uribe has scored a run. Gonzalez and Ellis have driven in the runs. And Greinke has given up no runs and 3 base hits. And Morales actually has pitched reasonably well, despite the 2 runs he's given up. He has struck out 4 and walked 2. And he is pressed into service. Elise Chassin, his shoulder is shot. Lockout. The Padres' rotation is in such shambles that they traded for Jair Jurgens the other day. For the Rockies. It is in such disarray that Jurgens is going to start tomorrow, and he was just acquired. Drew Butera putting the mask on because he nearly got clocked on that line drive off the bat of D. Gordon. 2-2. Remember, I guess it was the Yankees were playing the Red Sox, weren't they? And the line drive went into the dugout and nearly got Zimmer. Then the next day he was wearing a General Patton helmet. This is more practical. Gordon, Puig, and Ramirez to bat for the Dodgers here in the 5th. D at 296.
D deserves all-star consideration. You know, 2nd place in the voting, and Mike Matheny, if you want a winning piece that can impact the game, if he doesn't outright win the vote, he deserves to be on there. I think the only way he is not end up on the National League club is that the whole rule that a player from every organization has to be on there, and he gets
in the hole at short. Tulowitzki throws out D. Gordon. Wow is right.
Look at the angle that Troy Tulowitzki takes on this ball. See how he's kind of more toward 3rd base, not going backwards, because he knows he has to cut that off because of the speed of D. Gordon. And then he also knows that he has to get rid of it quickly and shows off that strong arm of his. But it was all first made for the angle that he took to cut that ball off to get himself into position to make a strong throw.
80 pitches already thrown by Morales. A spectacular play. 2nd one of the game turned in by Tulowitzki. As Puig fouls it back, 0-1. Greinke was robbed of a base hit on a diving stop by Tulowitzki back in the 3rd inning. And to throw D. Gordon out from deep in the hole, a sidearm throw by a half a step. Another spectacular play for Troy Tulowitzki. And if there's a better shortstop in the game today, who is it?
That play was so good, and the other thing that made it so good is that he made it look so easy.
He never seems rushed. 0-2 to Puig, who went around. In the short right, LeMahieu taking charge and making the catch, 2 out. And that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez, who has walked twice. It is now 7:30 or thereabouts here in Denver. About 3:30 this afternoon, the Dodgers weren't sure if he was going to start tonight or be placed on the disabled list. And he's played well to this point. And takes the ball 1-0.
Amazing recovery from yesterday to today for Hanley, from being on first base, 3-2 count, 2 out, and a blooper to left, and he barely can get on a jog, past a jog, because of his calf that he had. And then today he's leaping and bounding and ranging up the middle. And all of a sudden they did some great things to make his legs feel better.
He went from Clark Kent to Superman.
Yeah. You see Sean Figgins there. He was explaining to D. Gordon what Troy Tulowitzki did to him and how he.
It's called robbery.
Yeah, and it was. He even showed him it was a perfect throw.
What's been really interesting in the relationship between Sean Figgins and D. Gordon. Sean is kind of like an uncle, an older brother, and he has guided Gordon every step of the way. I mean, he has embraced the fact, Figgins has, that he is now a senior citizen, relatively speaking, in that Dodger clubhouse. He knows what Gordon is going through, has been through. Figgins, of course, a terrific utility player, great third baseman in his salad days in Anaheim. So they've really forged a wonderful relationship. And now he's a walking sandwich board. Foul from the moment of impact off the bat of Ramirez.
And Sean doesn't have that just be kind of lip service or just, oh, I'm doing this so people can see me and I'm close to D because D's a star now. Sean comes out early for his early ground balls with him. He shows him drills. He participates in the drills with him. So he's out all, from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They are together the whole day through the work program and then in the game.
2 out. 3-2 to Hanley Ramirez, who grounds it to third. Arenado throws him out. 1-2-3 inning. The first clean inning for Morales. And Tulowitzki takes a lot of credit for that, too. With as we sit down with Matt Kemp as he talks about his dream as a player and how he wants to be remembered. Don't miss Connected with Matt Kemp on Sunday at 5 o'clock on Sportsnet LA. There's Matthew Ryan Kemp, 0 for 2 tonight, and he'll be featured on Sunday. Here's Nolan Arenado, who missed 37 games with a broken finger on one of those headfirst slides. And in his first at-bat, He bounced into a double play, and on this time he bounces on 2 hops to Hanley Ramirez. Arenado hasn't been up long enough to talk about his many virtues.
Yeah, well, he knew that Zach Greinke likes to get ahead in the count, so he saw a good pitch that he can handle, and he swung at it. He hit that ball hard, extremely hard, just right at Hanley Ramirez, and Hanley Ramirez made a nice play on it.
4 strikeouts, no walks for Zach Greinke. No walks for a Dodger starting pitcher doesn't qualify as news anymore. Here's Willeen Rosario. Takes a strike, 0-1. Dodger starters have gone 36 consecutive games, not including tonight, allowing 2 walks or fewer. That ties a record set by the 2005 Twins rotation that featured Brad Radke and Kyle Loesch, among others. As the longest such streak, 36 consecutive games, starters giving up 2 walks or fewer in 100 years.
And they're not just command pitchers. Boy, do they strike out a lot of people too. So you could say you build a staff of strike throwers, but these are dominant strike throwers.
So Greinke, to this moment, has struck out 115 and walked 20. Beckett has struck out 93 and walked 29. Ryu has struck out 81 and walked 19. Look at it. And then there's that Kershaw kid.
How's he done?
107 strikeouts and 11 walks.
And he doesn't appear on the leaderboard yet across the league because of the innings count, missing the 6 weeks as we watch this bat helicopter towards the Dodger bench. Unfortunately, doesn't hit anybody. But in about 3 starts, maybe just after the All-Star break, Clayton Kershaw, with 6 or 7 innings pitched per start, will start to appear on the leaderboard. People will start talking about a 4th ERA title.
And that's the 5th strikeout for Greinke.
Maybe another Cy Young. He probably will be competing with this guy and Adam Wainwright and Johnny Cueto, and maybe some others will sneak out of the pack.
In terms of ERA and all of that, Kershaw does not qualify, but in strikeouts, even though he has made considerably fewer starts than everybody else, he ranks 8th in the league with 107. That's Josh Rutledge, who's in the on-deck circle for the Rockies, so Morales' night may well be done as LeMahieu is the batter. There's Rutledge. Right-hander Tommy Kahnle, hard-throwing right-hander, has been warming in the pen, and so Walt Weiss got 5 more than serviceable innings out of Franklin Morales.
Walt Weiss will be very pleased with the effort he got from Franklin Morales. Not as far as he would like him to go, but just coming out of the bullpen and building his pitch count. He's got to watch that. But the quality of what he got here, especially here in Coors Field, was outstanding.
Greinke on 2-0 into short right field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Bobbled by Puig. So a 2-out hit in the nerve.
Well, this is just a base hit, but after the base hit, when this falls in, I mean, you got to see what this is where communication comes in on who has this ball easier. Does Van Slyke have that because he was behind it? And Yasiel really didn't need to go reach for that ball right there. Just let Van Slyke get it and throw it in.
That's the second time in the past week there's been some miscommunication between Van Slyke and Puig in right field. One back at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, this, you know, since you've seen it a couple of times, it's one of those where they're going to really have to sit down and talk about who's going to take charge out there.
Rutledge with a line drive base hit into right field, and this one's going to split the seam and go to the wall. LeMahieu will score. Rutledge with a pinch hit double. The Rockies are on the board 2-1.
breaking ball that just kind of stayed up a little bit on Zach. He's been attacking people with fastballs early. Decide with a man in scoring position to throw the breaking ball. Was a good solid strike breaking ball, but up a little bit too much right there. And you got to tip your hat to Rutledge, attacking the first thing he saw as a pinch hitter and putting good wood on it.
Well, Rutledge just continues to crush the Dodgers. Coming into the game, he was batting .371. That's 33 for 89. So that's a big sample size with 8 doubles. So he just added his 9th double there with a pair of home runs.
Blackman with the tying run in scoring position. Blackman 0 for 2 against Greinke tonight. A single, an error, and a double. And the Rockies are right back in this thing. This after Arenado grounded out and Rosario struck out. Rockies now have actually out-hit the Dodgers 5-4. Nothing in 2 to Charlie Blackman. 12 home runs and 46 runs batted in.
Power's kind of slowed down for Charlie. Boy, he was hot at the beginning of the year, hitting for tremendous power. Looked like he was going to have a monster year, and he's having a good solid year, but he was on pace early on to hit close to 40 home runs.
And have hit about 400 too.
Yeah. He slowed down a little bit.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, a run in here in the bottom of the 5th. Blackman a .344 hitter at home. Foul ball. And .248 on the road. Well, the Rockies, throughout their history, been a wide disparity between their offensive success at home and on the road. At home this year, the Rockies are hitting .326, and on the road .244. And that's been the way, not since the beginning of time, but since the beginning of the Rockies.
My theory has always been that the same thing that affects the pitchers here is the same thing that affects the offense when they leave here. But the main thing is not the way the ball carries, but the way the ball breaks.
Or doesn't.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Here in Colorado, where you have that less of a break, smaller break, but as a hitter, when you go on the road, you still see the same spin. And when you're used to playing so many games at home, you're assuming, okay, it's only going to break just small, shorter. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get that bigger break, swings and misses, or off the end of the bat.
And this is all because of the altitude, the Mile High City.
Yeah, you're unable to square up the ball perfectly, and then that takes some time. And then once you probably figure that out, then you're back home.
Yep. It's a very hard predicament for them, for all of a sudden for hitters to see that same spin but get different break.
Where those folks are walking is exactly a mile high. Here's the 1-2, way outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Greinke at 59 pitches. Got the first 2 batters easily. 2-2 to Blackman with Stubbs on deck. Three and 2. Suddenly it appears as if Greinke's beginning to labor a bit.
A little bit right here, but I think he's pitching Charlie tough. He got ahead of him 0-2. He went away, then he came in. Charlie fouled them both off, and now he's been working him to try and save that run on second base, knowing that he's got a swing and miss candidate on deck that also is right-handed.
That's Drew Stubbs. And this is Charlie Blackman. And we'll do it again.
Zach's glad to have that one back. They were trying to come fastball in, and that ball leaked over the middle of the plate and got a lot of the plate. And really, if Charlie gets a hit on it, Zach would consider it a mistake. Watch AJ jump inside, but watch this ball leak all the way back, and that is right there where you would put your tee if you're going to do some tee work and loosen up as a hitter.
So Blackman, who has struck out and grounded to first. Here's a 3-2 from Greinke. That was ball 4.
Yeah, ball 4, but up in the zone. And as a hitter, when you know you're facing a guy like Zach Greinke, who doesn't walk a lot, you know he's going to be throwing you strikes and in the strike zone. That's what you're thinking up there at the plate. And then you have a ball that's that's up in the zone, and when it's closer to your eyes, it looks bigger, and you have a tough time holding up your swing. So you think you can hit it, and he was able to foul that off.
Here's the 9th pitch of the at-bat. And he works out a walk, the first one given up by Greinke.
It's just that little bit where the ball doesn't bite and come back. They were going backdoor slider, and this ball just spins and spins and spins. It doesn't make its way back. This wants to break left. At sea level it will and come back and hit that corner, but here there's just not enough humidity in the air to grab onto that spin and make it bright.
So that was a Coors Field ball.
Definitely. Because mentally, Zach, I throw this ball here on this pitch, and this is what it'll do in break, and he executed exactly the way he wants to execute it at sea level. But here, it just missed. It just spins there like a cement mixer and doesn't do much.
And also some of the fact there that Zach Greinke's on that pitch would want it to be really fine, because as you mentioned, really didn't mind if he walked Blackman in that situation, because you were talking about how tough he was pitching him because of Drew Stubbs coming up.
Right. It was a nice sequence. The two fastballs in, even though there were mistakes at times, kind of knocking it, getting the ball inside or up, and then thinking, okay, he'll just lock up. He'll think this is a ball away. I'll catch the corner, but it just never came back to it.
Stubbs with an infield hit and has taken a called third strike, but he has done well in his career against Greinke. 9 for 21. Low and outside, 1 ball, no strikes. That's 429. First and second, 2 out, 1 in here in the 5th. As Greinke has reached a patch of rugged road here. One ball, 1 strike to Drew Stubbs. Rutledge is the tying run at second. Stubbs out of Austin, Texas. Came over from the Indians over the winter. Came up with the Reds in 2009. Last year in Cleveland, now his first season with the Rockies. Whoa. Stubbs, a 3-time All-American and 2-time academic All-American out of the University of Texas. And a first-round pick of the Reds in 2008. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 2 on. 2-2.
2-2 here. Zach had only had 2 3-ball counts tonight. That's why we're looking at some potholes in this inning. He was really being efficient up until now.
23 pitches in this inning. The 24th, strike 3 swinging. 6 strikeout, and for Greinke couldn't have come at a better time. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 man left. 2 men left. 2-1 Dodgers. We head to the 6th. As the newly minted National League Pitcher of the Month looks to continue his torrid summer against a team he no-hit just 15 days ago. Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers take on the Rockies on Independence Day. Coverage begins at 4 o'clock Pacific, only on Sportsnet LA. Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Kemp, and Scott Van Slyke will bat for the Dodgers against a new pitcher, Tommy Kahnle, making his 32nd appearance. ERA of under 2.5, and he's held opponents well under 200.
Nice fastball, and he's done a very nice job pitching for the Rockies right here. He's going to get some more opportunities as they continue to go through this year. He's one of the more effective guys on their staff. This game is definitely in the balance. When you're playing in Colorado, there's only been 3 runs scored, 2 by the Dodgers and 1 by the Rockies in the last inning.
Well, the humidor's working tonight. And then there are those games that take place here that 15, 13, 30, 35 hits. But tonight, it's been a pitcher's duel, which generally is oxymoronic when you're talking about Coors Field. Woody Page, one of the local columnists here in Denver, he was up here chatting with the 3 of us, you two in particular, prior to the game today, about Coors Field, how you go about your business playing here, pitching here, and what, if anything, can be done to alter the way things go here. Adrian Gonzalez leads off. He'll be hitting against the shift in the 6th, and Kahnle's first pitch to Gonzalez. High and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. You want to distill the conversation?
There was an awful lot of topics that we talked about in general. It was really about the humidity in the air, the lack of humidity here, and how the ball doesn't break for pitchers. And then we also talked about the size of the ballpark. Everybody had a suggestion.
1 ball, 1 strike to Gonzalez.
Most of us are of the belief, Nomar and Charlie, you and myself, that the ballpark should be smaller, that it's not the home run here that really hurts the game as in the offense, is the doubles and triples and the gaps.
Gonzalez is 1 for 2. And the count is now 1-2.
Yeah, that really, when you have so much real estate to cover out there, you know, as a hitter, you're okay, you get those balls, you get a few that fall in. You look at the dimensions there of Coors Field with over there at center field at 415.
Well, from 375 in right center to 390 in left center. It's, in baseball terms, practically infinite.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, when you have those big innings, it's like, okay, oftentimes you'll see that blooper fall in. It'll be a blooper, it'll be a gapper, and then then it's the 3-run home run. And then it's, you know, and then there's more pitches that the pitcher has to throw because those balls have a tendency to fall in more, or those balls in the gap are finding the hole easier because it's so big.
And I thought Woody had a good point about taking the corners and making it so when the ball goes down the line, the ball is deflected back to the outfielders. Because then you don't have to have a bunch of rabbits in your outfield. You actually can configure your roster that maybe your right fielder and your left fielder can be power hitters. They can be a little bit slower of foot because the ball gets carried back to them. You don't end up with triples and to the left field corner.
I think they were also preoccupied when they built this beautiful ballpark, and it is a visually striking park. Matt Kemp is the hitter with 1 out, nobody on. Fearful of the altitude and home runs going out and into that spacious left center power alley. There's 2 out. They thought, okay, we got to put the fences back or they're going to hit home runs every day, all the time. Well, as it turned out, the home runs have come, but it's the doubles and the triples where the outfield now has to play in fear of balls dropping in front of them, and if it gets past them, then they run off forever. And then if they're playing in, you're in trouble. Play out, you have to come in. And it's 350 down the right field line, 347 down the left field line. But it's the power alleys where that makes this ballpark so unique from an offensive point of view.
And I will tell you that a home run will bring less pitching changes than a double or a triple.
Van Slyke.
Because a double and a triple have situations then that are after that where the manager might want to make a change and the inning is still in balance, whereas the home run, you have nobody on and one out, or nobody on and, you know, the run's already in.
It's a cut and dry situation.
And their pitcher's back in the windup, and you know, it's okay, we're starting over. Oh, you know, and there's plenty of ballparks where they give up home runs, in Cincinnati and Philadelphia, where you build championship teams, but you don't have as much territory to cover out there in the outfield.
And I think that's a better idea to do that than put those balls in the humidor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't start altering the ball or equipment just because of the altitude or because of the stadium, the way it plays.
And then we started talking about, you know, changing the atmosphere a little bit. And Omar, you came up with the idea of putting an umbrella over this place, and can we pump some humidity into it?
Yeah, try to change it up.
Let's get some humidifiers out
make
here.
it an atmosphere.
A whole bunch of Disney misters.
Yeah. I mean, technology now today, sure it could be done.
Van Slyke did check this way.
Anything, if you have the right amount of money, it'll cost you, but I'm sure it could be done. I mean, if you can put a tropical rainforest indoors at a zoo, and here's that check swing once again, and he holds up. I mean,
and you can throw a breaking ball in a tropical zoo.
There you go.
Probably could.
Probably could. You know.
And the giraffes have a real big strike zone.
And I think they should grow the infield grass. I think you give the pitchers a place where there is an out.
Let's just bring in the fences and be done with it.
Well, you asked. I mean, we touched on a lot of topics. These were the things that were thrown out and that you brainstorm and see. And
they cannot, you know, if they don't put humidity in the air, they're not going to solve the home and away discrepancies in the splits for the offensive players. Because when the slider spin comes in here, it breaks 6 inches, and the slider spin comes in at sea level, it breaks 10 to 12.
Van Slyke into left center field. That's going to be a base hit. And that's going to be a double. Once it got past Dickerson, Van Slyke had an easy 2-base hit, his 7th of the year. There's 2 out.
Well, Van Slyke must have heard us talking up here. He says, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on those gaps like you guys talked about, and that's exactly where he hits it, in that left center gap. And see that Dickerson try to cut off the angle, just couldn't get it there in time, and Slyke with an easy double.
That base hit is what sets this ballpark apart from most, because there's so much space between the left fielder and the center fielder. And now Uribe, who's 2 for 2 and a run scored tonight. Into right, but right at Blackman. And that'll end the inning. No runs and 1 hit, 1 man left after 5.5.
Welcome back, everybody. 2-1 Dodger advantage as we make our way to the bottom of the 6th inning. And obviously, Charlie, Oral, and Nomar have been talking at length about Nolan Arenado, the Rockies' third baseman, coming back, being activated off of the disabled list. And we know a little something about that as well, with our third baseman, Juan Uribe, being on the disabled list as well for a significant amount of times. Look at the comparison between these two guys. They basically went on the DL almost on the same day. Missed about the same number of games. Nolan Arenado missing 3 more than Uribe. But really the importance here is what the team did with and without them. The Rockies just 10-27 without Nolan Arenado. The Dodgers really good with the next man in mentality. A 20-14 record, lost the last 14 of 16 for the Rockies. Dodgers did a good job of taking the place of Juan Uribe when he was on the DL, guys.
Great credit, of course, to Justin Turner, Miguel Rojas, and Sean Figgins before he got hurt. Morneau on the first pitch of the bottom of the 6th. A.J. Ellis makes the play. Well, after a 24-pitch 5th inning, Greinke gets just what the doctor ordered. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Well, Zach Greinke has been very efficient tonight. He's gone 15 out of 21 batters where he has gone first pitch strike. He's been in 5 0-2 counts, and he's only had 2 3-ball counts. Just that one rough inning.
And here's Tulowitzki.
And now he has to face a tough hitter in Tulowitzki, who's coming into the game. 447 at home. That's his average, and he's only gone hitless in 5 of his 35 home games he's played this year.
If the best player in the league is playing on one of the worst teams in the league, is he the MVP?
It's hard to be valuable when you're losing. So I like most valuable players on championship teams.
Andre Dawson was a notable exception years ago with the Cubs. Here's the 0-2 through the middle, off Greinke, and there'll be no play for Ramirez.
What's your take on that question, Omar?
You know, it depends on how you want to define it. That's where that's the question for it. Everybody's like, well, it says most valuable player. Okay, well, if that's the way you want to define it, but I always joke about, here's that nice base hit by Tulowitzki up the middle. But I always say, but even when you're younger, you used to say MVP was the best player. That's the way we always defined MVP, was it was the best player. So if we're saying best player in the league, if that's how you're defining it, then you got to say if he's the best player, even if their team's in last, you got to give it to that person. So that's the discrepancy on that, is how you're defining the award.
Remember what Matt Kemp and Ryan Braun went through. Now Dickerson, 1 for 2. Dickerson has singled to left, fouled out, and takes outside 1 ball and no strikes.
Because we always say, couldn't that be the same argument for Cy Young? And yet you said, people go, well, on the trophy it says best pitcher, so it's different. And I'm like, okay, so change the word.
Well, you can't change the word. Here are the rules by which we play.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And that's, to me, that's the beauty of most valuable player, because it inspires debate.
Well,
and it's, an accountant can determine who the best player is surely by numbers, but what does a given player mean to a team over the course of 162 games? And then we can fuss and fight and argue, and that's what makes baseball so great.
Which I have a tough time then. I mean, then you're going, well, valuable, then can a starting pitcher get that award?
And he has.
I know.
2 balls and 1 strike, including our very own Don Newcomb. But I remember the 1962 Mets were the world's worst team, 40 and 120. It's inconceivable you can finish 80 games under 500, but they did, and it would have been worse had not 2 games been rained out. The most valuable player of the 1962 Mets was Richie Ashburn, who was a great player with the Phillies. And Gordon to Ramirez, not going to be in time at first. But his great days were with the Phillies, and after he retired, became the great broadcaster, Richie Ashburn. He was the MVP of the 1962 Mets. And at the end of the baseball writers' dinner that year, as you look at the spin move by Ramirez, they gave him a fishing rod or something, whatever they gave the most valuable player of the 62 Mets. And he was asked, and now Stan Conti's going out. Something get in.
It looks like his contact lens might be an issue for Gordon, or dirt in his eye, some issue.
So Ashburn gets the fishing rod. And in his speech, he said, "I've just been named most valuable player of the worst team in history. Is this a good thing?"
In 1988, when we won it all and Kirk Gibson was the MVP, he had 25 home runs and 76 RBIs when he won the MVP. Darryl Strawberry had 39 home runs and 101 RBIs. And Will Clark had 29 home runs and 109 RBIs. But the writers determined that Gibson was most valuable. That was the late 80s, though. Things have started to change.
Well, it just goes back to,
changed.
Like I said, it goes back to how you want to define it.
Right, and I'm not arguing for or against either side,
Right.
just pointing out that it just seems like sometimes the writers sway towards where they perceive value and other times they sway towards statistics. And I think we've gotten closer to looking for more statistical honorees.
Nolan Arenado is 0 for 2. And the Dodgers have a 2-1 lead with 2 out. That's why Greinke has not made an error in 4 years. One of the best defenders at his position in the game. The reflexes and athleticism of Zack Greinke. Well, we'll go to the 7th inning. And Greinke has been terrific. Franklin Morales, a breath of fresh air for a beleaguered Rockies rotation, going 5 innings. Just 1 earned run and 4 hits. And Tommy Kahnle pitching his 2nd inning of relief. And he'll be facing A.J. Ellis, Greinke, and then D. Gordon. So the Dodgers with a chance to reclaim first place all by themselves with a win tonight after a 7-2 Cardinal win in San Francisco. D. Gordon, will he or won't he be going to Minneapolis for the All-Star game? It's up to you folks. Voting ends in a little bit. Go to Dodgers.com, MLB.com, and stuff that computer with 35 votes apiece. Ellis a sac fly and 2 at-bats tonight. Ball strike, nothing in 1. Actually, to be correct, 2 plate appearances. And there is Sean Figgins. There's a strike to Ellis, and it's nothing in 2. Well, we had a passing shower about an hour or so ago. It lasted maybe 2 minutes, but it was a torrential downpour, and then it just came and went. Now it's a lovely night. Dodgers with a 2-1 lead. The count is 1-2 now to A.J. Ellis.
You're looking at A.J. Ellis up there, who batted in the 2-hole yesterday, and a lot was said about Don Mattingly's lineup yesterday. And we've got kind of the same game going here tonight. The Dodgers had a 1-run lead going into the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and Mattingly had put out a patchwork lineup and said, you know what, in his pregame scrum, this is a winning lineup, and he had it set up. It just was the bullpen couldn't come through, and we're set up for one of those games right here. AJ's hitting the 2-hole, the 6th-hole, the 7th-hole, the 8th-hole this year. But Don Mattingly and Mark McGuire and Rick Honeycutt and Tim Wallach, they all go through and determine the workload of all the different players.
Ellis down on strikes. First strikeout for Kingleaf, and it's the first out of the 7th.
A lot was said that was a kind of a B-level lineup that they put out yesterday, but they were up 3-2.
Everyone did their job. Guys got their rest. I mean, and not only that, he also had his starters come in if they needed over at the back end of that game in critical situations to pinch hit whatever they needed them for. So, like you said, they had the game at 1. They had it in their hands to win the game, and the bullpen was unable to come through.
Greinke on 2 hops to LeMahieu.
This is one setting it up. He's got the A-team in there tonight with Zach Greinke dealing a gem, and it's still a 2-1 game in a very offensive park. Might come down to the bullpen again.
Now here's D. Gordon, who was robbed of a base hit by Troy Tulowitzki. That was back in the 5th inning, and this is the Arco top-tier play. Hard to find many better to get the speedy Gordon by that much. Tulo with 2 out. Here's Gordon, 1 for 3, and the victim of the robbery by Tulowitzki in his last at-bat. Gordon at .295. Leads the majors in stolen bases with 40 and triples with 9. In what has been the breakout year of his career.
An all-star human being. Hopefully he makes the all-star baseball team, but an all-star human being. Yes, sir. No, sir. Doesn't walk by you without saying hello. Looks you right in the eye. Full answers to whatever you want to talk about. Just a great, great kid.
His old man, of course, Tom Flash Gordon, just a tremendous pitcher for nearly 20 years. And his younger brother, Nick Gordon, was the 5th all-around pick in this year's draft by the Minnesota Twins.
There's a point in a general manager's life and teammates' life that you bet on people's character, and this young man's character is never going to be a question.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Gordon. Diamondbacks are routing the Pirates tonight, 10-2. Pittsburgh gotten hot lately, but the D-backs are cooling them off. And the Cardinals beat the Giants 7-2. So the bottom line on this game, the Dodgers win. They are back in first place, a half a game in front of San Francisco. That's what's been going on around the National League, an abbreviated schedule on this Thursday. Of course, the 4th of July tomorrow. Here's the 2-2. 3-2 to Gordon with Puig on deck.
Walking a home run's a big inning right about now, and D. Gordon just trying to find a way to get Yasiel to the plate.
The way the game has gone tonight, a run is a big deal. Morneau, they're still going to get him. Yes. Canely does a terrific job of covering after Morneau boxed it, but still had the presence of mind to throw out D. Gordon, who has been, well, we're going to take a look-see before we go away, as Mattingly will come out and say, are you sure? And Mattingly may well have a point. So Brian O'Nora, the home plate umpire, Corey Blazer, the first base umpire. And it looks like the Dodgers say thanks, but no thanks. 7th inning stretch. They lead 2-1. The 7th inning stretch. Dodgers 2 runs and 5 hits. Colorado 1 run and 6 hits. Now it's time to take a look at the Dodger calendar, presented by 76. Back with you tomorrow. First pitch, about 10 past 5. And Clayton Kershaw will be facing the Rockies' newest recruit, Jair Jurgens. They picked him up in a trade yesterday. He's getting thrown into the fire tomorrow. And we'll be on with you at 5, Saturday and Sunday at 1, Monday an off day, Tuesday afternoon at 4, Wednesday morning at 10. Then the Dodgers fly home, and there is Mr. Kershaw getting ready for tomorrow. Clayton will be in search of his 10th win in his 13th start.
He's been exceptional, and he keeps raising the bar for himself because he has been the best on the planet for about 3 years. And he's doing even better than he used to do right now.
And Greinke, no slouch tonight, delivers a strike, 0-1. Greinke has thrown now 78 pitches, 55 of them for strikes, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Another walk in the park for the Dodger starters, including tonight, or to this point, 36 consecutive games, 2 walks or fewer, which matches the 2005 Minnesota Twins for the longest such streak of control in 100 years. Willeen Rosario, 0-2, has flied to center and struck out. Nick Massett, right-hander, warming up in the Rocky bullpen. And Greinke, his 7th strikeout, made it look easy.
Well, it's an outstanding breaking ball at this altitude. I'll tell you what, it was sharp. He started on the correct trajectory, and he finished it. This is like a perfect slider at this altitude to get that much break on that plane.
DJ LeMahieu's got a hit, a run scored, and he's been struck out. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk for Greinke. Of Greinke's all of his amazing numbers. Brandon Barnes now in the on-deck circle. Greinke, following a Dodger loss in his year and a half at the club, 19 times they are 16-3. Chopper over the middle, into center field for a base hit.
I don't know if that, I see D there holding his head. I don't know if that ricocheted off him or not. It looked like it definitely got Hanley's glove up the, see this ball going up the middle. You see Hanley ranging on that ball, but yeah, I think it hits maybe D's hat, the brim of his hat. But as Hanley tries to get that ball. This is a better look here. You can see that. See how D went down there? Huh. But he seems to be okay, which is a good sign. And now they have to regroup, and hopefully Zach can get him a ground ball and try to get the double play to help him out.
Rick Honeycutt now had to have a conversation with his pitcher and catcher.
D just motioned to Hanley. Hanley asked him to hit you in the head, and D motioned and pointed at the brim of his hat, like you said, Nomar.
Meanwhile, back to Greinke and his remarkable number. In 45 starts since coming to the Dodgers, the team is 32-13, and he is 29-8. He's got a 2.7 earned run average. Since 2011, his 1-loss record 56-19. That's a .747 winning percentage, and that's the best in Major League Baseball. 1 out, 1 on, and here is Barnes pinch hitting. Adam Ottavino has now joined Nick Massett in the Colorado bullpen.
You talk about Zach Greinke, but what a special rotation for Dodger fans to follow this year. Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, Josh Beckett, Ryu, and Dan Herron. I mean, it's a pleasure to watch people pitch every single night.
Barnes from Anaheim went to Catella High School. Well, the Dodger rotation. ERA of 3.02, the best in baseball, the best 1-loss record of 42-23. The fly in the ointment is that the Dodger bullpen has a 6-16 record. Dodgers with a 2-1 lead with 1 out. And Barnes takes inside.
And as you mentioned, last inning, Oral, the bullpen's going to be a factor.
Oh,
you know, it might be a factor in this game coming in. And I tell you, you're in Colorado, you know, and that's a 1-run lead, but a 3-run, a 4-run run feels like a 1-run lead. So this one doesn't feel much like a lead at all.
1 ball and no strikes to Barnes. To second base. There's 1 and 2. Gordon to Ramirez to Gonzalez. 4-6-3. And we will go to the 8th. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. Puig and Ramirez coming up. Gonzalez after that. After this 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Position at lunchtime today. It's 50-50 whether or not he'd go on the disabled list, but tonight showing no ill effects.
No, he just turned a nice double play, those two. We talked about where they're after that ball hit off Gordon's hat, was like, hey, time to regroup and get that double play. It's exactly what they did.
Well, here's Nick Massett after 2 terrific innings turned in by Tommy Kahnle. Massett's 27th appearance. He has struck out 18 and walked 11.
Fastball slider, and again, a winning piece in the puzzle of the bullpen of the Rockies. But they are down, of course, but you are not down a lot when it's 1 run, and especially in this ballpark.
And their bullpen, frankly, has been a far sight better than their rotation.
Mm-hmm.
As we go to the 8th, a number to noodle. The Dodgers are 44-4 when leading after 7. And the Rockies are 3-37 when trailing after 7. We go for 3. A strikeout, a ground out, and a pop out. And a fly out. There's Stubbs, and that's the first out of the 8th. Now Hanley Ramirez, 2 walks, and he's bounced to 3rd.
He's taking some big cuts, looking like he's trying to hit it 400 feet, and I wouldn't be surprised here with nobody on 1 out that he doesn't unleash one of those swings. Try and get the Dodgers up by 2.
Another Ramirez hit a memorable home run off Nick Massett. Manny Ramirez hit a pinch hit grand slam on Manny Ramirez bobblehead night. I don't know, about 7 years ago, whatever it was. A foul back and out of play. The previous night, Manny got hit by a pitch on his hand. Oh no, he's not going to be able to play on his bobblehead night. Well, he couldn't until he came up to pinch hit in the 5th inning and hit a grand slam into the neighborhood forever known as Mannywood. And it was off Massett. But a nondescript ground ball to short this time. 2 out.
Well, those 2 swings from Hanley Ramirez were definitely ones to try to drive it out of the park. The one before that ground ball was a pitch up in the zone off speed, and his eyes lit up, and he tried to drive that over the wall, just got underneath it, and then that one he just topped it a little bit.
I think you're going to see the same approach right here from Adrian Gonzalez, coming up with 2 out, nobody on. Guessing and open up in his swing.
Gonzalez tonight is 1 for 3. And they put the shift on for Gonzalez. Tulowitzki moves from the shortstop spot to about 8 or 9 steps on the first base side of second. Arenado, the only fellow on the left side.
And there was that cut. And as a hitter, Adrian Gonzalez, who was in that slump that we talked about, and he was working his way out of it, and is doing an excellent job going the other way and hitting, all parts of the field. You battle with yourself going, okay, do I still maintain that? But I know here's a situation that I do need to let it fly, and I want to make sure that when I let it go that it doesn't take me out of still my good approach I've been having.
This will end the inning. Tulowitzki in the second base spot. The shortstop throws out Adrian Gonzalez. 84 pitches have been thrown by Greinke to this point. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Rockies, top of the order, coming up. The Mile High Country on the 3rd of July, and looking to take a road trip for the summer? Well, before you do, head to Dodger Stadium a week from tonight and be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance to pick up your Dodger-themed Hello Kitty travel mug. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. So Greinke has been a model of control. The Dodgers are making a defensive change. Isbel Arabarena just called up. Takes over at shortstop, and he will be replacing Hanley Ramirez in his first game back. There's Arabarena down at Albuquerque for a spell. Carlos Trienfel was set out, and so on the first time that Ramirez has played in the field as many as 8 innings in a game since the 22nd of June. Did well tonight. Blackman 0 for 2 and a walk. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodger bullpen at the moment, they continue to be spectators. But Troy Hawkins is warming in the Rocky bullpen. Greinke tonight has thrown 9 pitches or fewer in 4 of his 7 innings. Just 1 inning, the 5th, was a real problem for him.
He hasn't had a complete game yet this year. The most he's gone is 8 innings, and that was on the 16th of May. Most pitches he's thrown was 3 outings ago, 117 against these Colorado Rockies, but that was at home at Dodger Stadium.
3-1 to Blackman. 3-2.
Well, he hasn't gotten into too many 3-ball counts in today's game, and he's only the 3rd one. And you can, right before he threw that ball 3, he was really upset with himself because
7 strikeouts and 1 walk given up by Greinke. And the last thing in the world he wants to do is give up a leadoff walk, especially late in the game. Blackman doesn't walk that often. Into short left, Arabuena's got a long way to go, and it's a foul ball. That one was fraught with disaster, with Uribe and Arabuena running over and Kemp running in.
You see Uribe over there hustling, everybody going after the ball. And I'll tell you, for me, looking at Uribe, I just wanted to make sure he's okay, because, let's not forget he's coming off that hamstring injury, and it's plays like that you don't practice, you don't simulate, where you're trying to put in another gear because you know how important that out is on this game, and you try to take it up just a notch, and you possibly pull things if everything's not 100%, but he looks okay.
And in this altitude,
yeah,
that's another issue.
Yeah, that's an issue too. It affects your body.
Players are told days in advance on the way into Colorado. Hydrate. Drink a lot of water. One more time, 3-2 to Blackman with Stubbs on deck. This is only the 2nd at-bat all night in which Greinke has gone at least 7 pitches.
He had an epiphany the 3 outings ago against the Rockies when he threw those 117 pitches. He only got through 6 innings, and he really has made a concerted effort over the last few outings to attack the strike zone.
But Blackman wins the battle with a leadoff single to right. And that'll bring up Drew Stubbs.
Well, he's not going to walk anybody, so he's going to keep it in the strike zone. I mean, give credit to Blackman. That was an off-speed pitch, and he didn't pull off that. He stayed with it and drove it to right field.
J.P. Howell going to work. Justin Morneau on deck is a left-handed hitter. So might Stubbs be Greinke's last batter tonight.
JP's going to have to hurry if it's going to be for the next one. He might let Zach go through Troy Tulowitzki.
And you've got Dickerson after Tulowitzki. Brandon League is now joining J.P. Howell.
If they were thinking for Morneau, I think Rick Honeycutt would be to the mound, or A.J. Ellis would be out there talking. J.P. doesn't have enough time for just one hitter away.
Bunted in the air. Dodgers catch a break. That's the first out of the 8th.
You know, Drew Stubbs has a tendency to strike out. He's not going to hit into any double plays, but with the bullpen getting up, and while Weiss knows that Zach Greinke would face Morneau and he's going to have a matchup he likes, he decides to put the bunt down, but Stubbs pops it up and ruins the manager's strategy.
Yeah, exactly right, because after getting through that one, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to walk Morneau with base open. If he gets that down to face Troy Tulowitzki, he's, you know.
He wouldn't walk Morneau. He would have had to face Morneau. So you got your two best hitters, your RBI guys, who are going to get a matchup that the manager likes.
Manager's like, I'll take my chances with those two guys.
Morneau is 1 for 3, and he drills one to deep right center field. Van Slyke on his way back, and it is off the base of the wall. Blackman will score. Morneau on his way to third, and he's got a stand-up triple, and the game is tied at 2.
Jumps on a fastball right away. Morneau is tired of making outs tonight. Got an infield hit, a strikeout, and a pop-up. But here he drives this ball, and no matter where you put the fences, it's going to be an extra base hit.
And now the lead run 90 feet away. And the best player in the National League this year is coming up. But Don Mattingly is going to come out and take Greinke back with him. .94 pitches, 93 to be precise, for Greinke. And Mattingly is going to keep Greinke there, apparently, and talk about how to pitch to Tulowitzki and what the defense is going to do.
Well, I'm not sure if he gave Zach the option of walking Troy and I'll leave you in here to face Dickerson, or you go ahead and pitch to him. I'm going to bring the infield in, but I don't want you to give him anything good to hit. There's definitely instructions, and we'll get to see what Don said as we see this at bat develop.
Tulowitzki 1 for 3. Eight for 26 against Greinke, who delivers a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1.
And if you're a hitter like Troy Tulowitzki, in your mind you're thinking, okay, I don't think they want to throw me anything good, so I'm really trying to keyhole and say, okay, if there's one pitch, if you make a mistake, that I'm going to jump all over.
Tulowitzki at 351. Outside.
Zach's thrown 4 curveballs tonight in my mind that I can remember, and 3 of them have been to Tulowitzki, and he has tried to make sure he's bounced each one.
But bouncing one here with the lead run 90 feet away is dangerous business.
It sure is. AJ did a good job blocking that one.
Dickerson on deck, tied at 2. The Rockies have out-hit the Dodgers 9-5. 2-1. Tulowitzki, by the way, you see what he's done in the clutch. On the year, he's hitting .348 with runners in scoring position. That's 4th in the league. First in the league in batting average, 2nd in the league with 18 home runs, 1st in the league with a .443 on base percentage. And it's popped up into short left. Uribe giving way to now Kemp.
It's a great job by Matt Kemp on that one, because that saw Uribe back was turned. At Arena, he was on it. He could have made that catch, but it was a tough angle. But Matt Kemp taking charge, charging in, calling them both off, knowing that he could get underneath that ball, because if an outfielder can get underneath the ball, take it. You see Uribe's back's turned. That's a tough play for him. Arena has a good angle. There's Matt Kemp calling everyone off, taking charge, And he also has a good angle to watch the runner at third base.
The only one facing home plate. So now Dickerson will be intentionally walked with 2 out, and Arenado will come up. Second walk of the game given up by Greinke.
And then last at bat for Arenado, he's the one who hit that hard line drive right back at Greinke that he was able to knock down and get him out at first. So it wasn't like it was an easy out against Arenado.
First and third and 2 out. So how have these two teams done in one-run games this year? About the same. Dodgers are 12 and 13 in one-run games. The Rockies are 11 and 13. Arenado in his first game back after missing 37 has seen 5 pitches in his 3 at-bats tonight and has yet to get the ball out of the infield. 1 ball and no strikes. The Dodgers have been outscored this year, 8th inning and beyond, 83-58. A 104 pitches now for Greinke. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Looking ahead to the Dodger 9th, Kemp, Van Slyke, and Uribe. And after that, A.J. Ellis. Tied at 2, bottom of the 8th. 1-1 pitch to Arenado. Opposite foul. Ellis gives chase and runs out of room.
Arenado's 4th at bat. He's seen 8 pitches and he swung the bat 4 times. He's been out on the first pitch twice, the 3rd pitch in his first at bat, and here in this at bat he is moving the bat. So right now A.J. Ellis and Zach Greinke are talking. They're not talking about where to get him looking. They're talking about how to put him away, knowing the bat's going to be moving.
Arenado, a 2nd-round pick of the Rockies in 2009. Last year, 267. And the Gold Glove winner. One and 2, first and third. Greinke deals. Popped up. Ellis will again run out of room. Arenado turned 23 in April. Born in Newport Beach, lives in Lake Forest. Graduate of El Toro High School in 2009. So there, Ellis and Greinke.
It's 9 pitches, 5 swings. That's why they're talking. It's like, we know he's swinging. Where do we want to go to make him hit it weakly? And they decided on the last pitch to go fastball up because the bat's moving. We'll get the pop up. Just didn't stay in there for him. If you go with the slider, you want to put it in the dirt, and that's the scary pitch. That's why I think they went with the high fastball.
Here comes the 1-2. Another high fastball, strike 3. 94 miles an hour. Arenado down on strikes, but the Rockies score 1, tie it, and we go to the 9th with Kemp, Van Slyke, and Uribe coming up. As we head to the ninth, and how do we get here? Well, Adrian Gonzalez singled home D. Gordon in the third, and after Uribe doubled and went to third on a pass ball, A.J. Ellis with a sacrifice fly. That would give the Dodgers a 2-0 lead until the bottom half of the fifth, when Josh Rutledge, pinch hitting for the starter Franklin Morales, would double home DJ LeMahieu. And in the bottom half of the eighth inning, a Blackman single, a Morneau triple, and we are tied at 2 heading into the ninth inning. Zach Greinke terrific tonight. 8 innings, 1 earned run, 2 altogether, 9 hits, 8 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And now here is the ageless wonder, LaTroy Hawkins, making his 31st appearance of the year, record of 2-1, an ERA of 2.57.
A lot of times when he's in the game, he has the lowest heart rate on the field. He stays very calm in every situation, and even more so as he's gotten older.
Hawkins is 41. And here is Matt Kemp, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Dodgers would prefer not to go into extra innings. They're 3 and 8 in extra innings this year, and 12 and 13 in 1-run games. Dodgers led 2-0 after 4, and here we are tied at 2 in the top of the ninth. Kemp has bounced to short twice, flied to center. 2 balls and no strikes. Van Slyke, Uribe, and then if anybody gets on, A.J. Ellis.
Well, last time we were back here, we had this same in the 8th inning, though. Matt Kemp led off with a triple in a tight ball game, and
I don't think we got him in, did we?
No.
3 infield ground outs.
Exactly. We're unable to get him in, but the Dodgers could use a nice leadoff triple would be nice. Just a leadoff base hit. That's all you need.
You're a downer. I'm not inviting you to my birthday
Well, I was
party.
I'm just bringing it up. That's what happened last time. Matt Kemp, I mean, he did the job last time and does it again, getting on base when you need him to, leading off the inning.
A 4-pitch walk. Scott Van Slyke is 1 for 3. Well, yesterday Van Slyke got the Dodgers back to within 1.
It was off a right-hander. Got a double today off a right-hander. He continues to show it's not just lefties he can hit.
Pop out, a strikeout, and a double. And a weak ground ball to second base. That had more English on it than the Queen. But Kemp goes to second with 1 out, and Uribe coming up.
And that's when you come in the dugout and your teammates are asking you, how are your knuckles? Because that got way in there, jammed them, but at the same time, release moves the runner in scoring position.
And here is Uribe. .283 with runners in scoring position, and Kemp at second base is the lead runner. Fastball high. At 41.5, LaTroy Hawkins can still muscle it up there. To second, through! LeMahieu into center field. Kemp comes in to score. A rocket shot off the bat of Uribe, and the Dodgers take a 3-2 lead.
LeMahieu was pinched up the middle to keep Matt Kemp close to second, because Matt has the ability to steal third, and he happened to be there right after the deking. And this ball kind of surprises him a little bit. See him go back, so his eyes are moving. Now he's got the second base umpire also, Brian Hobart, out there. Well, there's a lot going on for him in his eyes.
There was, and I'll tell you, aside from the umpire being there, that ball was just scolded. I mean, that was just hit so hard. That's the third ball that Uribe has just squared up today. He hit one left field for a base hit. He hit a double. And then that one right there with a big clutch RBI single.
Ethier is on deck. We assume that goes as a base hit.
I would hope so, because
it goes as a hit.
If I'm an infielder and I'm going, you gave that an air, I asked the official scorer, would you like to come out here? Because that was just a rocket.
Try this glove on for size. So Uribe with his third hit of the night, a run batted in, and the Dodgers reclaim the lead. Brandon League and Kenley Jansen warming in the Dodger pen. Runner goes, swing and a foul.
Well, they had the hit and run on there. You got Uribe taking off. He was looking in after a second step, and AJ going after that ball. Good time to try to put some pressure on the defense, get things going. You just took the lead there.
Yep, strike thrower on the mound that really doesn't have a put away fastball or a put away breaking pitch, just a really good pitcher.
The leadoff walk begins the inning.
Yep.
Kemp on 4 pitches. Van Slyke grounded with a lot of, it was like a gyroscope, all the spin on the ball off the bat of Van Slyke. And so all LeMahieu could do was throw out the runner at first. That got Kemp to second, and then the Uribe base hit. Time call. Now remember, if the Dodgers win, they'll go back into first place all by their lonesomes. Cardinals beat the Giants again today, 7-2. And the Giants have lost 17 of their last 22, while the Dodgers have won 15 of their last 23. That's how a 9.5 game deficit disappears in a hurry. Pitch out, nothing doing.
If the Dodgers win with this current score, Zach Greinke wins his 11th game and puts him in a tie with Adam Wainwright. And Tanaka won his 12th tonight over on the American League side. So Greinke will be right up there with the leaders. #1 in the National League.
Yankees beat the Twins 7-4 in Minneapolis. The 1-1. Ellis fouls it off to the right. 1-2. Ethier in the on deck circle to bat for Greinke. With the lefty Franklin Morales starting tonight. Ethier was a spectator until now. Greinke in conversation with tomorrow's starter, Clayton Kershaw. Ellis down on strikes. 2 out, and here comes Andre Ethier.
One of the inside jokes is probably going on between Greinke and Kershaw down there when we saw that shot of the 2 pitchers. It's probably Kershaw coming up and going, how can they hit for you?
It would be a pitcher talk saying that right there. That would be the end.
Plus the way the pitchers have been swinging the bat the last few days.
Good point. I'll give you that. They have been swinging it well.
And so too has Ryu. Two out, Uribe at first. Dodgers with a run in the 9th, lead it 3-2. Nothing in 1 to Ethier with Gordon on deck. Well, the Dodger starters have just been uniformly great all year. If the Dodgers hang on and win, the starting rotation will have a 1-loss record of 43-23 and an ERA of something around 3.
And Zach clicked off another outing with 2 walks or less.
37 straight games for the Dodger starters, giving up 2 walks or less, 2 walks or fewer, depending on your grammatical side of this fence.
I failed freshman English 3 times before I got out of it, so I'll take your advice on which one's the right word.
Either or either. So Ethier awaits the 1-1 from Hawkins. If he waits any longer, he'll catch up to Hawkins' age.
Now we're down to a battle of the closers, right? We got to run off your closer. Hoping our closer comes in and gives up no runs.
Jansen will be in search of his 26th save. One and 2 to Andre Ethier. Now this Rocky team has had a rocky road, and they just came back from a road trip losing 6 of 7. Coming off a month of June in which they lost 20 out of 28. And back on May the 7th, so 2 months ago basically, they were tied for first with the Giants at 22-14. Here's the 1-2. Ethier strikes out. That will end the inning. But a big run, a leadoff walk for Kemp, an RBI scalded single by Juan Uribe has given the Dodgers a 3-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Matt Kemp began the top half of the 9th with a 4-pitch walk. Went to second on an infield out, and then Juan Uribe scalded one into right center field. Uribe's 3rd hit of the night and drove in the game leading run as we go to the home half of the 9th, and on in relief in search of his 26th save, Kenley Jansen. He's been good on 25 out of 28. And so that number is a little in discrepancy with his earned run average at 389, but he had a tune-up about a week or 10 days ago in San Diego. Had a good listen to from Rick Honeycutt, Chuck Prim, and Kenny Howell. They made some mild mechanical adjustment. And Orioles, somehow it all clicked in again.
And I think they repositioned his glove and maybe some angle of his shoulders to kind of get him more out in front, give him better accuracy and more snap on his pitches, and it really has helped him. Because once the ball starts coming out of your hand better and you see it as a pitcher and feel it, boy, it helps your confidence, and that also has helped his aggressiveness.
Willeen Rosario, the power hitting catcher, leading off in the bottom of the ninth. Skies it foul and out of play. Second sellout of the year for the Rockies. 48,533, and they've seen an entertaining game. And they expect another big crowd tomorrow, with Kershaw pitching against Jair Jurgens. My guess is the fans will be coming to see Kershaw more than Jurgens.
Or the fireworks.
We'll be on to something there, too. Chopper to short. Arbarena. Boy, he makes it look way easy, doesn't he? How much do you love that, Nomar?
It's a high school guy playing on a little league field the way he goes about his business. It is so easy.
I said that the moment I saw him come up. Just watching him field ground balls, just routine. Even when he's taking his ground balls at batting practice, routine. Look at him, just so calm, in control, like he's yawning out there as the ball's coming to him.
One out in the ninth.
The only part of his body that looks nervous is the way he's working that gum over.
LeMahieu is 2 for 3 tonight. Dodgers 2 outs away from first place. LeMahieu takes a strike, 0-1.
Kenley with a nice 95 fastball right there. It's Spanglish.
Yeah, I understood it.
0-2 to LeMahieu.
Now what was that?
97.
All right.
Did it have any sink?
No, it was straight.
It's straight gas.
It was derecha.
LeMahieu at 277. His average has just gone down as Jansen strikes him out. Ellis throws to Gonzalez to complete it.
I'll tell you, that's a big pitch, not just because it struck them out there, but I'll tell you, putting it in their minds that you will come at them with a breaking ball or off-speed pitch and not just a straight cut and relying on that. Look, what a great breaking ball to throw right there, because that's why LeMahieu swung and missed that way, because he was thinking, I'm getting that. I just saw 95, 97. Here comes 90-plus again, and whoop, take something off of it. Good job by Kenley.
2 out, and here's Ryan Wheeler. Born, raised, and lives in Torrance. Went to Loyola Marymount. Dodgers had seen him before in Arizona. He was with the Rockies a bit of last year, and here he is separating the Dodgers from first place in the National League West, all by their lonesomes. 1 ball, no strikes. Wheeler has power. Couple of home runs, 13 runs batted in. 1 ball and no strikes. 2 balls and no strikes. One thing about the Dodgers in this rotation, they win tonight. Assuming they win tonight, the Rockies have to face Kershaw tomorrow.
Yeah, the thing about the rotation is if you win, all of a sudden you got a chance to get on a real roll, and if you lose, there's another stopper going the next day. So the fact that we've never won 4 games in a row is absolutely amazing.
Into right field, Puig going back. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. And the Dodgers hang on and win it. Kenley Jansen can breathe one big sigh of relief Big smile for Juan Uribe. The Dodgers are alone at the top in the National League West with a run in the ninth. They beat the Rockies 3-2. Player of the game, Zach Greinke, who went 8 innings tonight. 2 runs, 1 earned, 9 hits, and 8 strikeouts. He threw 107 pitches, 73 for strikes. Lowered his ERA to 2 2/3. The Dodgers improved their record, 49-39. They're 10 over 500, and now 1/2 game in front of the second place San Francisco Giants. The Lexus player of the game, Zach Greinke. That's a wrap for us and our entire Sportsnet LA crew here in Denver. For Oral, Nomar, Alana, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. See you tomorrow. Access Sportsnet presented by Hyundai is next.